Hi, this is Cathy for Trans by Deaf, and I'm coming to you on a cold, wintry East Texas day. It has been raining here for the last 2 days, and it is just a most cold and miserable type of winter day that we have here. This week's topic is one of talking about insecurities. What type of insecurities did you face as you transitioned, and how have you handled them? I would like to start with the one insecurity which still bothers me the most and which I have to work on the most. That is in dealing with my wife. Ever since I told my wife a little over 4 years ago that I was transgender and that I absolutely had to transition, I have worried immensely about her leaving me and divorcing me. We have been married for over 35 years and have been together for a long time. To me, I was worried that I would lose that support and lose that loving kindness of my wife that I had come to depend on for a lot of years. The way in which I have handled that insecurity was when I knew that I needed to transition, the thing I did was tell my wife up front, like I do with most everything else. She was hurt a little bit when I first told her, but given a little bit of time and a little bit of space, we never separated, we never left each other, we always stayed together. She began to warm up to me and began to do some research and learn a little bit about what was meant by being transgendered and how she could act, and she has really been one of my best advocates and one of the people who I have been able to look to for help and for support as I transitioned. But I still, in the back of my mind, and every now and again, she will make some comment about my transition, which is a little bit negative, and I get that insecurity comes rushing right back in. To try and work on that insecurity, I have made sure that every week I continue to take my wife out on a date and go someplace that she wanted and do something that she thought was fun. And that seems to have eased the pain a great deal over my transition. I know that there is still pain and there's still some tension there, but it seems to have worked through itself somewhat. But it will probably always be a concern that I have that my wife is staying with me. Now, once I get past this huge concern, which to me was a great big concern to work with, the next concern was, when I first started transition, was that of my voice. I worried every time that I went out in public, was my voice going to give me away? I finally got to the point over that insecurity that I just talk in the normal girl voice that I always use and not worry about it. Try and make sure that I always raise my voice at the end of every phrase and do the things, but it's become very natural as I go through to speak in my woman voice, and I rarely ever drop back into my male voice anymore. The second thing which I noticed as an insecurity was the insecurity of dress. I know the first few times I went out in public and left the house that you could read transgender all over me. My clothes didn't fit well. I didn't wear them very well. I didn't know how to act in those clothes. I didn't behave in those clothes. And it was a considerable problem that I had every time I went out. And I have continued to always to work on getting better clothes and to do a better job dressing and looking like a woman as I go out in public. And it has gotten easier as that concern has more or less worked its way out, as I have a better wardrobe in my closet and as I have become accustomed to wearing women's clothes all the time. The third was dealing with my daughter. How do you deal with a daughter when you're dad for about 10 years and then you become another mother? That has been very hard for my daughter, and that has been a major concern for me and a major problem that I've had to work through as I've transitioned. And dealing with her is sometimes very difficult because she is in that age when hormones rule and boys are the cutest thing on the face of the earth and parents aren't worth much. So that has been a challenge to me with that insecurity of how do I deal with my daughter as I transitioned, and it was a major insecurity. The other things that I found were problems that I've one by one gone through were our name change and driver's license and photo IDs. That was a major insecurity. One that also is out there that I keep wondering about is my job. In transitioning on the job, it was fairly easy to go to HR and get them to come and give the presentation. But there have been some very tense times when people haven't known how to react to me, which have created some problems in the workplace and with the people that I deal with on a daily basis. And that is insecurity that I have had for my entire transition period since I transitioned on the job. And I think I will continue to have that insecurity as time goes on. I hope that it will decrease, but I have a feeling as long as there are people there, and there are lots of people that have been there for a long, long time, there's a very low turnover rate at my job. And so a lot of the people know, and if they don't know, someone who does know tells them that I am transgender. But I have not suffered any harassment or any other ill effects from it. I have just felt uncomfortable. And I'm sure that they feel as uncomfortable and insecure as I do in the workplace. Well, those are my major concerns for today. I would like to thank you for joining me. And I want to emphasize that one of the things that I have found with insecurities is you have to face them up front. 1. 2, you have to take it one day at a time. I remember back in the 70s and early 80s there was a TV show that was running on TV called One Day at a Time. And I have found that that is probably the best advice that I can give anybody who has insecurities. You take each of those insecurities individually, and you go and you face that insecurity, and you react to the situation that is around it. Well, we will see you next week. Bye.